Introduction. The sun never sets, or does it? The UK. Land of tea, crumpets, and a history so long it makes your average history book look like a pamphlet. This little island nation once controlled a quarter of the globe. Talk about punching above your weight. But things have changed a bit since the days of the empire. So, where does that leave Britain in the 21st century? Still trying to find its place in a world that's a wee bit more complicated than we're in charge? You're not. Buckle up, because we're about to navigate the choppy waters of the UK's global influence in 2024. We'll explore the good, the bad, and the downright baffling. And yes, there will be tea. Section 1. A trip down memory lane. The Empire, the Commonwealth, and Brexit. Oh my! You can't talk about the UK's global influence without addressing the elephant in the room, its history. Specifically, its history of colonization. For centuries, the British Empire stretched across the globe, leaving its mark, not always a positive one, on countless countries. The empire may be long gone, but its legacy lives on. The Commonwealth, a voluntary association of 54 countries, most former British colonies, is a testament to this complex past. And then there's Brexit. Brexit, the gift that keeps on giving, headaches mostly. In 2020, the UK decided to break things off with the European Union. A messy divorce, to say the least. Brexit has undoubtedly shaken things up for the UK, leaving some wondering, what's next for this island nation? Is it Global Britain or Little Britain? Only time will tell. Section 2. Playing with the big kids. The UK in the UN, NATO, and G7. Don't let the Queen's Guard's fluffy hats fool ya. The UK still packs a punch on the world stage. It holds a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. Fancy. It's a founding member of NATO, the military alliance that keeps Russia on its toes. Well, tries to. And it hobnobs with the world's economic bigwigs in the G7. But here's the thing. Influence isn't just about sitting at the cool kids' table. It's about using your voice to make a difference. And sometimes, that means standing up to your mates, even when it's awkward. Especially when it's awkward. The UK has a long history of diplomacy, for better or worse. It's been a key player in international negotiations, from trade deals to climate change agreements. But with great power comes great responsibility. Thanks, Uncle Ben. The question is, can the UK use its influence for good in a world facing some seriously big challenges? Section 3. Brexit. Baby, Brexit. How leaving the EU changed the game. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room again. Brexit. Leaving the EU was like breaking up with your long-term partner. Suddenly, you're navigating the world solo, trying to figure out who your friends are and what you want for dinner. Brexit has undoubtedly thrown a spanner in the works for the UK's global influence. It's no longer part of the EU's powerful trading bloc. It's had to renegotiate trade deals with countries around the world, and it's facing a whole lot of red tape and bureaucracy. But hey, every cloud has a silver lining, right? Right? Brexit has also given the UK more freedom to forge its own path. It can now strike trade deals with whoever it wants, within reason, of course. And it can focus on strengthening relationships with countries outside the EU. So is Brexit a blessing or a curse for the UK's global influence? The jury's still out on that one. But one thing's for sure, it's made things a whole lot more interesting. The UK and the US, two countries separated by a common language and a shared love of reality TV. They've been through thick and thin together, from world wars to royal weddings. Their special relationship is the stuff of legend. Or is it? Let's be real. Like any relationship, it's complicated. They may be allies, but they don't always see eye to eye, looking at you, Iraq War. And sometimes they just plain annoy each other. We're not naming names, but someone needs to tell Boris to put his teacup down. But despite the occasional spat, the UK and the US remain close partners. They share intelligence, cooperate on defense, and trade billions of dollars worth of goods and services. Plus, they can always bond over their shared love of complaining about the French. Remember the Commonwealth? That club of former British colonies we mentioned earlier? Well, it's more than just a bunch of countries with a shared history and a love of cricket. It's a network of nations with the potential to be a powerful force for good in the world. The Commonwealth represents a third of the world's population. It includes some of the world's fastest-growing economies. And it's united by shared values of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. Well, mostly. The UK has been working hard to revitalize the Commonwealth in recent years, seeing it as a key part of its Global Britain strategy. It's promoting trade and investment between Commonwealth countries. It's working to address climate change and other global challenges. And it's even trying to make the Commonwealth cool again. No easy feat, let's be honest. So, where does the UK go from here? What does the future hold for this island nation with a global outlook? It's a question that's been on everyone's mind since, well, forever. But it's become even more pressing in the wake of Brexit. The UK is at a crossroads. It can choose to retreat into itself, becoming Little Britain. Or it can embrace its global role, using its influence to shape the world for the better. The choice is theirs. No pressure, guys. But seriously, the UK has a lot to offer the world. It's a center for innovation, creativity, and culture. It's home to some of the world's best universities and research institutions. And it has a long history of diplomacy and international cooperation. Climate change, the biggest challenge facing humanity. The UK, like every other country, needs to step up its game. It's made some progress, reducing its carbon emissions and investing in renewable energy. But there's still a long way to go. The UK has the potential to be a leader in the fight against climate change. It has the technology, the expertise, and the resources to make a difference. But it needs to show real leadership on the world stage, pushing for ambitious climate action and supporting developing countries in their transition to a low-carbon future. Trade, it's the lifeblood of the global economy. And the UK, as a trading nation, knows this all too well. Since leaving the EU, the UK has been busy striking new trade deals with countries around the world. But it's a delicate balancing act. The UK wants to secure favorable trade deals that benefit its economy. But it also needs to consider the political and ethical implications of its trade relationships. For example, should it be doing business with countries that have poor human rights records? It's a tough question with no easy answers. We've already talked about the Commonwealth, but it's worth mentioning again. This network of nations has the potential to be a major player on the world stage, and the UK is uniquely positioned to leverage its influence within the Commonwealth to achieve its foreign policy goals. The UK can work with Commonwealth countries to promote democracy and human rights, tackle climate change, and boost trade and investment. It's a win-win situation for everyone involved. So there you have it, the UK's global influence in a nutshell, or should we say, a teacup. It's a complex and ever-changing landscape. But one thing's for sure, the UK is a country with a rich history, a global outlook, and a lot to offer the world. Sure, it might not be the empire it once was, but it still has the potential to be a force for good in the world.